Welcome back to my podcast session, Agency Insider, where we talk about agency owners and the pain which agency goes, especially in the digital marketing field. Today, I got a special guest, Alex Drew from ODYS. Today, I got a special guest, Alex Drew from ODYS. I hope I pronounced it right.
There are a couple of ways to pronounce it. One of it is the original Craig Campbell way, which is ODYS. That's the British way. And then I call it the more international form is like ODYS.
ODYS. Okay. All right. So guys, I have Alex who is here with me. And Alex, can you start by introducing yourself and telling about your journey in the SEO and how does ODYS came in life?
So I'm Alex. I'm the founder of ODYS. I don't really have a lot to say about me, except the fact that I work a lot and the company was bootstrapped literally with $200 that I borrowed from my sister. I think 15 years ago, because that's where the journey actually started. So I literally borrowed $200 from my sister to buy some domains, to buy some H domains and start some sites. And that's how it started, because obviously I had something going on, but that was I sort of like the tipping point, the break point where I actually shifted in the direction, not pure SEO, but more like domaining. And generally speaking, I'm bad at SEO. Like, I don't want to say that I'm really good. Like, I'm bad at SEO. I suck at SEO, but I just try to make SEO work for ourselves and for our clients. So when we get the chance to tackle strategy, I look at objectives and I see which ones of the current methodologies, approaches to SEOs, strategies will help them achieve their goals, regardless of how different, SEO communities or groups may interpret that. Or it can be like paid traffic, it can be anything, it can be a mix, it can be like a general marketing goal. So more or less, for me, it's more like a domaining side of me than an SEO side of me, even though recently we've worked on some very ambitious SEO projects. So, well, I can make SEO work if that's how you tackle it. So my journey started around 15 years ago. I think way longer than most well-known people in the industry today. It's just that for me, everything I do is a long-term journey. So I've met and lost and met then again and networked with a lot of people throughout this journey. And some of them I still have in my contact. Some of them completely gave up on it. But, folks like James Dooley, for instance, folks like Craig Campbell, folks like Matt Diggity, yourself, who've been for a very long time in the industry, they just view this as a long-term journey career. So whoever stays in the game will end up staying in the game, because at some point, if you win or lose, it's your decision. And the decision is, I give up, I go out. And one example I have is 2012, when Google launched their Penguin update. And up until 2012, everyone was very heavy on exact match and partial match anchor text. This is how everyone ranked, right? So, and when the update came, everyone lost their sites. And some people thought like, well, that's the end of the world. I'm going to give up on it. And even me, I went into paid traffic for like 3 months. But then again, it's not the end of the world. Like, you take what's left, you take what you learned, and you move forward. And every single person I know who managed to recover, and even more, had the tools, the strategy, and the mindset to stand up every single time they fall, have succeeded. Literally, no one failed.
Right.
That's more or less what it is in the journey. So I somehow consider myself a veteran if I start remembering the old days, but there are so many young, awesome, talented people who just pop up out of nowhere, and they're much better than us at everything they do. So I have to respect that.
Yes, absolutely. So do you have any other business or just ODYS?
I have some other ventures. Actually, when I started ODYS as a brand in 2018, I decided to give up on everything because there's so much you can focus on. I'm not Gary Vee. I cannot start 15 things. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm just a simple guy who tries his best to start a business, right? So I had websites. I had some joint ventures with other guys. I sold everything I could, and I poured all the money into ODYS. These days, we have some smaller projects here and there, even through the, let's say, the prism of domain selling. Sometimes on the agency side, which we do have, by the way, ODYS has an agency side. Someone may be keen to invest in our domains or acquire them, but they don't necessarily know what to do with them. So the question is like, Alex, can you guys as an agency, as a team, help us achieve these goals, these objectives with your domains? And then obviously, if you have capacity, we can help. And that's a means to sort of like help with add more value when it comes to using these domains successfully. So right now, not much except ODYS, but I kind of sleep at night, if you know what I mean.
Right, I do know. So now let's, of course, this is an agency podcast. We're gonna talk about Google. How can we not when it's there? So when it comes to I mean, there is a recent Google update which happened recently. A lot of websites were impacted. In fact, there was a lot of hue and cry in the affiliate world. A lot of people said affiliate marketing doesn't work, especially after the HCU and now this in September. So all these, so has this update affected the market of H domains?
It did, but to a certain extent. Okay. Earlier today, I was on a podcast with Steve Khanna from WordPress, and he launched a new podcast on link building. And he comes from the restaurant business. And in the restaurant business, we were talking link building in general and how people perceive it as gray hat, white hat, black hat, blue hat, green hat, whatever hat. And then he said, in the restaurant business, every single guy who has a place, like a local business, abuses Trustpilot. Through their friends, family, cousins, sisters, grandfathers, grandmothers, they abuse Trustpilot. Like Trustpilot is the monopoly for reviews. You get ranked higher because of Trustpilot's reviews. Everyone games Trustpilot. Now, Google came as a wrath, with all their wrath, as a monopoly, and took over the search market.
Right.
And people expect business owner not to figure out how to tackle and to deal with Google. So at some point, the reason I'm saying this, because if Trustpilot were to push a cleansing algo, like an algo update, to get rid of the potential fake reviews, would that be an end of the world for restaurant owners? Because now they can't use their sister, nephews, and grandfathers to push more fake reviews. Maybe they have a great place, but they cannot wait 5 years for the place to get legitimate organic reviews.
Right.
Right. So when it comes to Google, we are playing on their turf. Like, we have to accept whatever comes to us. Now, as business owners, we have to prepare. Some people lost their SEO business because they basically didn't have enough financially big enough buffer to start all over. So let's say you make 10 grand a month, and let's say you need 5 grand to operate your business. And then the simplest question is, do I have a financial buffer of at least 3 to 6 months where I can use the funds to pay my team and keep operations going, even though I all of a sudden receive no income? Most people don't have that. They have 5, 10 grand making, and they're, getting a new lease on a car. They're doing all this crazy stuff, thinking that this is going on forever. So basic lack of business skills ends up killing businesses, not Google. And now everyone who's been parasiting Google with affiliate marketing and content-rich sites, which adds very little value, with the exception of few. The goal is to basically, be the middleman between traffic and advertisers, right, and make money. Who complains that Google kind of killed businesses? Well, Google runs their own business. You either adapt to it, just like Trustpilot, or you do not adapt to it. So for me, it has affected, because very less affiliate marketers, mainstream affiliate marketers, I'd call them, who just want to launch a content site and make $100 a day with ads, or just pushing, a couple of sales to Amazon. Those we get less sales from, but there are growing markets in certain regions of the world which consume a tremendous amount of domains, and where domains work extremely well, and there, except H domains, nothing works there, and where this works to such an extent that it makes very little sense to actually use anything else.
Right.
And while sometimes when you operate in a market and you have different segments, so I view this as a segment, but a good business will operate in different segments. Imagine like you have the MacBook, you have the iPhone, you have the iPad, you have the iWatch. So the iPhone sales has plummeted a little bit, but this doesn't mean that we don't have any other markets or segments, market segments, I'd call them. So in a way, this is how I'd put it.
Okay. So now, in March also Google emphasized about the low quality content and of course new spam updates. They said it's gonna hit expired domains, but although I have yet to see an evidence. So is there a way you guys have adopted to ensure that the domains you provide meets the new standards or some parameters you introduced?
I think Google has somehow copied what we have been preaching for years. But the problem is we're a very small company. So if you were to kind of compare the share of voice of ODYS versus Google, ODYS would be like a blinking star somewhere and Google will be the sun, right? When they say something, everyone hears it. When we say something, we basically have a few friends and maybe a couple of authority figures within the industry that might amplify our message. And we have been preaching for years, guys. We are number one at due diligence. The percentage of accepted domains in the marketplace, we have a sell your domains program, SYD. Well, you can list your domains for sale, is 0.4. So basically you need from 100 domains, well, barely a domain would pass and we check for everything like trademarks, due diligence, previous abuse, repurposing, everything. Like if you want to start a website, you'd rather check all those things. So basically what Google says is do as ODYS has been preaching all these years, like, because at the end of the day, if you check none of our domains have been abused, repurposed, we're against that.
Right.
So like, and that's the claim because they say don't abuse aftermarket domains. Well, obviously we also say don't abuse them, but I cannot control how people use them. Just like they have AdWords accounts and everyone is buying a fake AdWords account and fake virtual credit cards and running gambling in countries where it's illegal through fake Google AdWords account, and Google is saying don't do that, yet they take the money.
Yes.
Which is again not a problem. Everyone has to run their business, but just saying that it is what it is, right? Yeah. Everyone has to make money.
Just like how Google used to say EMD doesn't work and EMD does work. It
does work.
Kind of same thing. Right.
Exactly.
So I mean, SEO and H domain had a unique relationship because Google, I mean, of course, when the Penguin update came and everything, then it became very tough for new websites to rank. And that's where you started your journey as well. So I mean, for a user who is listening it for the first time, can you explain the unique benefits of using H domain for SEO, especially in the current landscape? Because on an average, H domain would cost me something around a couple of good domain, anything not less than a couple of $1,000. So what do I get? What is the benefit of using an H domain when I'm trying to start my business, keeping Google in mind?
Back in the days, like 3-5 years ago, I think most people who have objected buying from a reseller, as some might interpret ODYS, even though we're sort of like a marketplace. So if you're listing your domains, we're a marketplace. We're not reselling your domains. We're just facilitating the sale, right? And they would object that buying from GoDaddy would give you better margins, would save you money. Nowadays, as you said, like a good domain will cost a couple $1,000s, and prices have skyrocketed. For the domains of similar criteria, GoDaddy is actually higher priced these days because the auction system facilitates them inflating the price, whereas the average price of a similar domain in ODYS is around $2,500–3,000. In GoDaddy, it can go even higher just because of it's a bidding system. It makes people want to bid more to win. So, and you also don't get the stress of being overbid and staying up late bidding for domains. That's one thing. In terms of the benefits, look, it really depends on the objectives. There are at least 3 different scenarios where you can successfully use H domains, and it really depends on the business model. But let's tackle it from, I want to launch a new site. Do I start it on an H domain or do I start it on a new domain? So if we see the domaining world from general perspective, if you want to launch a marketing agency and you want to call it traffic.com, well, you cannot hand register traffic.com. If you had the chance to register it in 1993 or 1994, maybe you have registered. So in other words, there are no good domains available for registration. All the good domains available for registration are either new GTLDs like .page, whatever, .investments, which are in .com, right? Or you have to use like naming hacks, sort of like ODYSglobe.al for ODYS Global, or you have to go like mydegreesonlinebest.com, which is not really a great name.
Right.
So the reason to choose to look in the aftermarket for domains is like when you look for a unique car, like those 70s Ferraris aren't made anymore. You cannot just buy a new one. You have to look in the aftermarket. You have to find, just like so same goes with a domain. The only reason you choose a domain from the aftermarket is name uniqueness. So I could give you the example of transferwise.com rebranding from wise.com. They couldn't have registered wise.com. They had to buy it from the aftermarket, which happened to have an enormous amount of backlinks, which they took advantage of. So if you looked at TransferWise or wise.com in Ahrefs, you will see like a spike in rankings after the rebranding, which was a 301 redirect, basically. So that's the reason. Second of all, if you are SEO savvy and you understand the benefit, not only you will use the name to your advantage, you will also use whatever it comes from. And it comes with trust. It comes with almost impossible to replicate links. It may come with traffic. It may come with type-in traffic. Wise.com had a lot of type-in traffic because it's a great name, short name, pronounceable. And I think even for SEO, the biggest advantage is that you can temporarily, at least temporarily, shift your mindset away from link building. So focus on building a great site, a great business, which has a foundation of links. Focus on a content strategy, focus on user experience, focus on, as Google say, great content to begin with, because the main problem is, well, SEO is sort of like off-page, on-page, and user behavior. So when most people start, let's say you have a $10,000 budget to start a new online business, you will use 5 for links, basically, or paying people to get links or whatever the means to acquire links, and the other 5 for content. Whereas with an H domain, you kind of shift away from the link building mindset, at least for 3 to 6 months, if you're playing a long-term game. And now you can really focus on your users, on building a newsletter, on content, on scaling, which I think is a distinctive advantage. And that mind shift alone, the mindset alone is of great value. And very few people understand that. They think that it just means to rank higher. It just means to rank high in a way, but it also saves you time and money and resources and help you focus more on the actual business.
Right. Now, so that's a great point you said, of course, and I'll especially the idea you don't have to go mad buying links. You could focus on content, good web design, because at the end of the day, what user do on your website when it lands is far more important than how you rank. I still
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've been in this business. Could you share some success stories? I mean, if you are allowed to do so, about some client who had a great improvement in their business or substantial improvement in the SEO performance using age domains brought from you guys?
Yeah, there are a couple of case studies being shared around. I could probably reference some of those, but usually, due to how, generally speaking, success stories are perceived in the SEO world, everyone wants to copy that. So usually even clients that were able to help a lot, they kind of insist we don't share their websites. There are lots of websites that are doing well, but I would rather talk about business models. I could probably mention a few here and there, but the way to basically, you either buy an H domain with a great name that you like. And our current CMO, Andrej from Croatia, he was the founder of Investors Club. It was a marketplace of buying and selling online businesses, just like Empire Flippers. And he was also the founder of alphainvestors.com, which was the agency side. And he also launched an online business and site management agency on buzzlogic.com. Now, buzzlogic.com, he ended up buying from ODYS without me knowing. So he's currently Team ODYS, but like 4 years or 5 years ago when he basically logged into his ODYS account. He added BuzzLogic to cart, which apparently was a domain name that was selling. and he bought an entire agency on it. Now, the reason I mentioned buzzlogic.com is because I'm really proud of what he did. Unlike other affiliate marketing story, which is just slap a shitload of content and hope it ranks to make money, this one is a legitimate business. He actually started on a great domain name. Now, I think 2 or 3 years ago, he sold his entire portfolio. So Investors Club, Empire Flippers, and basically he exited, right? And at some point he got bored, so he wanted to join our team just because he's a great marketer and he helps us out just out of boredom, not because he needs the job. He's just a great person and we're really, really lucky to have him. But that was a great success story because he ended up building a legitimate business. And as far as the content strategy, I think he ended up having a great blog with content and things have gone up. Now, if you look recently, those who bought the entire portfolio, I think they killed the site because they don't know what, because getting ranked and staying ranked is one thing, but constantly growing is much more difficult.
Yes.
So I could probably share that as a case study. And there are a couple of others. That was a case study when they actually bought the domain and built on the domain for two reasons. First of all, great sounding name, buzzlogic.com. I don't even have to spell it, like buzzlogic, logic.com, two dictionary words, great name. And second of all, it had a great backlink profile and it made things much easier for them. They wouldn't have to invest thousands in buying links or getting kickstarting from the very beginning. We have another case study, a pharmacy from UK, wellzo.com. So wellzo.com is run by a good friend of mine, ODYS. Well, we ended up talking quite a lot of times before he actually started this business. And he wanted an H domain, but he couldn't find one just as great as BuzzLogic for a pharmacy. So he went to brandbucket.com and bought wellzo.com. And then he came to us and sought help because wellzo.com had 0 backlinks pointing to it. So he was SEO savvy. And we found a great domain name and we used it as a means to 301 redirect. And if you check the backlink profiles, you see what I'm talking about. So that has shifted, let's say, him in the right direction. And there are a couple of similar success stories. And as a third one, like as a case study, I think H domain is link building, because if you really look at an H domain with, let's say, at least 100 referring domain, unique ones, and you would compare that to, and you'd have to spend $2,500, $3,000 on it. And it has, let's say, not many, 10, 15, 20 high authority backlinks that would be impossible to replicate, like New York Times, Huffington Post, like Forbes stuff. Like these are references on the web that you would have to pay a lot of money to get.
Right.
And if you divide the total amount of these links and the cost of the domain or the investment in the domain, and you divide them by the links that you get like a really good deal. So you can use relevant H domain as a means to link build and to build more links to your site, but not as most people perceive it, more like media buying.
Right, right.
So, for instance, and I'll end up with this, if you have a domaining related domain, I would buy that right away if it has traffic link, because in the domaining business, you want to own as many domaining assets as you have, because those are sources of traffic. Just like Andrew Rosner, from Media Options, one of the top brokers in the world, he bought domainsherpa.com. Domainsherpa.com was founded by Michael Cyrus, I think, and he's now with GoDaddy. He's also the founder of DN Academy. And Domain Sherpa was a domaining related blog with a podcast, yes, with traffic, with assets. And Andrew Rosner simply bought that because he needs more domaining related assets. So when it comes to H domains, you just have to view it from a business perspective. I need more of what I'm selling. So if you're in a specific business, you just buy more assets that will help you get more business through it. And that's how you perceive H domains as well. It's really no different.
Okay. Now, so after all this updates, so how do you foresee the role of H domains evolving, in the coming years with this scrutiny over the user experience, content, and of course with Google? Do you see the role of, how do you see it evolving?
It's growing much faster than I thought it would ever be. And the pricing that you see, the skyrocketing in pricing at auctions is the best example or the best proof of that. Domains that would sell for $500 like 3-5 years ago are now selling for at least $3,000 to $5,000. So what else drives the price up except demand? And if there is a demand, there is a use for them.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's basic economics. I don't even have to prove anything. Most people understand that's common sense. Now, I don't have the data for United States or global, but I've been talking with a good mentor of mine, and he said in Germany alone, around 500,000 businesses start a year, and around 500,000 businesses fail every year. And that's Germany alone. And maybe there is a percentage that kind of stays in the business. Now, all those, and these days we're talking about the digital era, we're talking about AI, all those businesses, with a very few exceptions, they register domains and they try to amplify their marketing efforts. And all good marketing efforts result in links. And links is what forms an H domain. Now, obviously, you have a lot of H domains coming to the aftermarket. And that's just Germany alone. And that's one of the top economies, G7, right? But you also have United States and you have other geos. And there's a lot of domains in the aftermarket coming from failed companies, failed startups, failed organizations, non-profits, agencies, et cetera, which are great use to someone else. Now, our agency might fail, but mine or yours didn't. So we may find their domain very valuable. Or let's say you're a lawyer and some guy decided to change careers, but he had a great domain. We sold nylawyer.com, newyorklawyer.com. We sold it to Dolman Law Group. So NY Lawyer was ran by a team talking about, like like everything lawyer New York, right? The entire New York scene. And he offers his services in New York. Now, those gave up on the project, but he found a great use for it.
Right.
So why wouldn't he buy that media, right, for himself?
So I know a lot of affiliate marketers are listening this show. So, and of course, affiliate marketing and trust issues after this recent update has caused a lot of trust issues in affiliate sites. I mean, not just because of H domain, people have given up on affiliate site because of the Google helpful content update, which nobody till date has been able to recover. And now then the March update where AI hit. So just for those affiliate marketers, how do you think can they affiliates leverage H domains to rebuild credibility and improve their rankings? And first of all, can they still do it?
So look, I think Google doesn't have a problem with H domains or any type of domains. They have a problem with their reputation or certain business models being abused to an extent where their reputation suffers. For instance, they don't care about H domains or new domains. In fact, if you were to compare the total amount of affiliate sites ran overall in existence, I think H domains would be a very small percentage of that. More are just on brand new domains, which have been grown in time. So does this mean that Google hates new domains or whatever domain? No, they have a problem with the business model because it makes them look bad. So let's take even basic like keywords, which are very famous. Let's say best sneakers or best sneakers for running. If you Google best sneakers for running, I'm not sure what pops up, but if you have Forbes popping up, even though Forbes is like a financial site, Google doesn't look as bad as if number one would be mine or yours, your blog, with, I would say, less than average web design and with no real credentials and with no real skin in the game or business. And this doesn't make them look good. So at the end of the day, if affiliate marketers running websites would make them look good and still make them more money, they wouldn't push for that update. But it neither makes them money nor makes them look good, in which case this is a problem they have to solve. Now, why do people choose affiliate marketing? That is the first question that we have to answer. Well, because of very few responsibilities. All you have to do is drive traffic. And if you're good at driving traffic and understanding which keywords convert, you can make money. No operations, no supplying, nothing. Right. It's very easy.
No logistics, right?
No logistics. It's no agency. You can do it from your bedroom, right?
Yes.
It's a very lazy business model. There is no skin in the game. You don't have to issue any refunds, right? You don't have to handle anything. You don't have to handle customer support. It's not a real business, so to speak. It's sort of like parasites, running parasites, because there is the difference between a LinkedIn parasite and your affiliate blog. It's still a parasite. So Google doesn't like when there are sites not representing real businesses, where people can write reviews, complaints, interact with the real business, pick up the phone, call somebody.
Yes.
And so I think the main problem that affiliate marketers have to understand is how Google perceives them as a business. We have a good client in US, he's in the lawn care business, and he's very successful with using 301 redirects to power up his site. But if you check his website, I may share it with you privately, just out of curiosity, you will see that he's a lawn care business. He actually provides it as a service. He also has a lawn care academy where he teaches other people how to start their own business, where you have to pay a fee, and he's very successful. He has a 60,000, last time I checked, YouTube channel where he actually shows them how to do it. Besides that, he has an e-commerce site, same site, all these on the same site, 3 business models. An e-commerce side of the business where he sells pesticides, insecticides, weed killers. And for the products that he cannot source or fulfill himself, he actually recommends them for Amazon and has a content side of the business where he actually links to Amazon and makes money as an affiliate. If you check past 2 years, you will see nothing has affected him. All these updates. And the difference between his content and affiliate content is no difference. Like there are a lot of affiliate sites with very good content. So the problem is in the business model, but he puts himself out there. He has legitimate social media accounts. I think he drives more traffic. And by the way, the multiple traffic sources is a very important signal to Google. If Google sees that you only drive traffic to SERPs, most likely you're trying to gain them. If they see that 50% of your traffic comes from YouTube, most likely you're a real business. There are more signals. So overall, he hasn't been affected at all, but he has a real business, real LLC, real address, puts his face out there. He answers his phone call. So Google kind of feels, you know, I wouldn't say it empowered, but they don't feel shy from ranking such a site because this is a real good business run by a legitimate business owner. With affiliate markets, it's the total opposite. That's why they will always get hammered, because I'm not saying their content is bad, but there is very little value and there is no one picking the phone. That's why Google doesn't like it.
So it's more like if you still want to be in affiliate marketing, it's not going to be a lazy marketing.
It's not. It's definitely.
It's not for the lazy guys. You really need to treat it like a business, not just like another website.
Those times are over.
Yeah, definitely. Now we heard about a lot about the SGE and the search generative experience, which Google been trying, of course, in trying different way. Do you foresee the landscape of SEO and affiliate marketing, and of course these things changing? And I mean, of course, with every new thing, there are challenges as well as opportunities. So what do you see with these compared to age domain? How it is gonna turn out?
I think every single niche where a website is required will be able to use an age domain. That's not an issue. But with SGE and with anything that implies instant answers and AI, I kind of think that makes sense because my daughter, she's 5 years old and she's not typing in the queries. She's voice searching. I taught her how to voice search. So she's voice searching. Me, myself, I think a couple of months back, she said, "Daddy, can you cook me some rice?" And I know how to cook rice, but I want to double check if it's like 16 minutes or 18 minutes, so I have to boil it. So I really needed that time. And then how long do I have to cook rice? And if I stumbled upon an affiliate site where I have to go through the answer, like for 30 seconds to find out that it's 18 minutes, that would have been a bad experience. And I kind of Googled, how long do I have to boil the rice? And it's 18 minutes, problem solved, set, done. Now we're going to eat in 18 minutes. So what I'm trying to say from a user perspective, and just everything is so fast paced, that's a necessary thing. And we have to all adapt to it. However, if I want to look for a very specific product or service or expertise or review, I cannot rely on Google because, well, I might need someone else's opinion. Or if I want to read specifically your site or your blog because you're an expert, or you may be a physician or a doctor or an engineer or an AI expert, I want to go directly to your blog, in which case you're going to need an age domain, you're going to need a web presence. You cannot just rely on Google or other AI bots scraping and interpreting your content. So a web presence is still necessary, especially when talking about brands, because that's an informational keyword. How to cook rice or how long to cook rice. But when we're talking about buying queries or even brands, well, Google is trying certain things, but I think at the end of the day, if I want to go to page traffic and I'm going to do a query like age domains pagetraffic.com because I know you have a good article on age domain, well, Google cannot hide that from me, else
Yes.
that is a bad user experience. And overall, their market share will shrink because they're not satisfying the search query, right? So I think there is still a good place for domains in general and age domain. And it's still too early because a lot of people were scared that websites are gone. Well, websites cannot be gone for as long as brands exist.
Right, right. So, with SG comes the AI, and of course, with the AI coming rapidly into SEO, has AI influenced the way you guys evaluate and utilize H domains? Have you used some aspects of it?
Definitely. We even like in our corporate strategy, we have the general strategy, the financial strategy, operation strategy, marketing strategy, like you have all kinds of strategies. And we even have an AI strategy. And our AI strategy is our clear commitment to embracing AI because we are moving through to the AI era. Like you will have everything AI soon,
Right.
except human creativity, which I think would be tough for AI to compete. But we'll see about that. But we're trying to embrace. We're not trying to fight it. We're trying to embrace it because AI is the perfect assistant in so many tasks.
Okay.
And for instance, with the use of technology and AI, we've managed to improve so many processes where elsewhere we'd have to overhire just for handling spikes because you cannot predict when a spike in something will happen. Let's say a spike in extra domains to check per day. So let's say today we could have had 300 more domains submitted by sellers than yesterday. And the current team is not handling the capacity, so they have to delay the response time, the publishing to the marketplace. So how do you cope with these spikes? Do you hire more and just assume these spikes will continue? What if it's a one-time spike only? So we solve that with technology and AI. So as a corporate policy, we have embrace AI, implement it everywhere we can, and at the same time, try to kind of push the narrative within the company to use AI as much as possible if it's helpful. Like a recent example from finance, we had to kind of sum together an X amount of invoices from GoDaddy. And I suggested our CFO, well, that's something you can work out with ChatGPT. Just ask it to make a template and then to add all the entries and boom, job done in like a minute. So we're trying to embrace it. And when it comes to age domain, I think a lot of time-consuming tasks like due diligence. Let me give you a brief example with due diligence and how AI can solve that. We haven't implemented that yet, but I think that will help a lot. You export the backlink profile of a domain and you upload it to ChatGPT or any other AI, and you ask it based on its awareness of what a good and bad backlink is. Try to assess how toxic and what percentage of links are toxic or not. And they're doing a pretty good job at doing that. They will actually tell you. Or you could take a screenshot from archive because they're able to OCR basically read, and it will tell you what the website was about. And if there is a risk, like if there is a Viagra link somewhere in the footer and the human eye won't notice, they will scan the page and they will tell you we found that. So I'm not saying it's doing a perfect job, but we're not very far away from that. So we're definitely using AI in our operations. And I encourage everyone to embrace AI and just to use it
That's interesting
to their advantage.
Right. So now, given the recent Google updates targeting low quality and AI generated content, what best practices would you recommend for creating a AI driven content that Google quality standards? Or I'm sure there are people who are buying domain, they are asking for help or something because when they come back and say, as you said, I bought a domain, what next? So, I mean, gone are the day you could generate content with AI. So how do you see that?
Look, AI content is neither good or bad. It's useful, depending on the use case. So let's put it this way. If you want to create a directory of best lawyers in New York, obviously you cannot, like, what would really be required to write a unique piece of content on New York, or let's say New York, Brooklyn lawyer, like, or New York, New Jersey lawyer, or whatever, Manhattan lawyer. Like, you cannot really write unique content. So you need programmatic SEO. Because if you're selling space and you're trying to really classify the best lawyers based on legitimate reviews, just like Trustpilot does, and you want to build, this is your startup, you gain funding. So why not use AI to actually mass create those pages for New York or for nationwide? Like, that wouldn't be a problem. So is it bad? Of course not. Is it good? Of course it's good. It's helpful. it will take, like, how would you otherwise, would you do it manually? Would you hire 100 people and then fire them because you no longer use them? No, you're going to use AI to masquerade those pages because the intent is good. And if someone's searching for good reviews for a lawyer in Manhattan, they will find a page which classifies good lawyers, but that page was AI programmatically created, which I think is of great use. On the other hand, if you plan to masquerade content just to spam Google, well, why would you waste your time and their crawl budget for something that sooner or later will get indexed, unless your strategy is like short term? It makes very little sense for long-term projects to just put in the quality, because at the end of the day, we have so many cases where people buy age domain, they rank fast, but getting ranked fast is easy. Staying ranked is hard. Back in the days, you could stay ranked longer because they didn't have all these algos for interpreting user behavior. These days, if I have page traffic ranked #1, pagetraffic.com for age domains, and all of a sudden I pop up at #1 or #2 with, let's say, ODYS Global, but your experience is better. Your site is getting a lower bounce rate. Your content is better. People click around. They actually fulfill whatever intent they have on your site. While my site has a high bounce rate, people go back to the SERPs. Well, I will get demoted, and not because of the age domain, but because of the user behavior. So Google can do that really fast these days, especially if you don't understand intent. So getting ranked is easy, staying ranked is hard, and not necessarily because domains do not perform or there is some kind of magical thing which ranks and then tanks you. No, it's you're not fulfilling the intent, and that is the main thing. You're not delivering a good enough user experience.
So we call it now in when we do, I do tell them same thing, which we do. It's more about the search experience optimization rather than the SEO. It is SXO. So it's not you rank and it has to be something related as SXO, which we've been pushing to our clients. We've been telling it's not that we are trying to upsell you, but get a new web domain, get a new website design. It's just that the bounce rate has to be really low, and with the Google recent those leaks, we know that it matters, right?
It does matter. It does matter.
Yes, yes. So those are wise words. Now moving out to affiliate marketing, of course, we talked about. Let's talk a little bit about, as I know you manage quite a lot of remote teams in quite a lot of locations, and you have quite a good experience in. What advice can you offer to effectively managing and motivating remote employees? Particularly in a tech-focused industry like SEO, which more is to do with all the time working in front of a computer and a remote employee. So what do you advise?
That's something that you should pay attention to. I mean, the industry itself, that it's IT and tech-oriented and SEO, and it involves remote. But at the end of the day, it's pure human psychology. Good management is understanding humans around you. And if you're in a leadership role, you have to understand what makes people tick. And based on what I've been told and taught and studies, well, there are three things that really matters in a company. The first one, you have to pay people well. This means that the corporate financial goals and the personal financial goals have to be aligned. Now, I'd rather put it the other way. The first one is you have to give people respect, because you can pay them well, very well. They can ask for X, you can give them 10X or double X. Right. If you don't respect them, if you humiliate them, if you push them, if you stress them, if you burn them, they will not stick regardless of how much, because they want to be happy. They want to enjoy life. They don't want to be like most people who want to be employed. They do not necessarily have the same ambitions as someone leading or founding a business has. So you have to be really careful with that. So respect, number one. Number two is obviously pay well. You have to pay well. So even that implies paying a little bit more, or sometimes aligning the financial goal of the companies and paying bonuses from performance, for instance. If the company made more net profit this month or this year, why not take a small percentage and just share it with everyone? Let them feel ownership. And on the other hand, if the company didn't perform, then you have a reason why you won't be getting an increase, why we have to think of ways to get out of the mess. So it works the opposite way as well. And the last thing, obviously, they need direction. They need to be shown which way the company is moving. So regardless if you're running a factory or an SEO remote team or a tech business or a or an AI business or an SEO business, they need direction. Where is the company moving? Where will ODYS or paid traffic or your YouTube channel be in 10 years, in 5 years, in 3 years? They really need direction, because most people who want to be employed, like this is the lifestyle they seek. Well, regardless how good they are, they still won't make the top decisions in the company. You will. So respect, good wage, and direction. I think these three are at the core foundation of a successful alignment of teams. So if you can deliver that, and when I say respect, I don't just mean showing that you respect them. It also deals with motivation, it also deals with encouraging them. It also deals with helping them stand up when they felt. So everything that a good leader must do. So these are, I think, in my opinion, the three things which really make the difference between a successful company who's constantly growing and someone that is struggling and has to do more HR and recruiting and hiring, because good companies rarely fire people. That's one thing that I've noticed. And I think people are the most important assets in a company. So you can optimize costs elsewhere, but don't fire people. Find them something to do, or use them to get you ROI somehow. I mean, there are ways to do it. Train them, give them additional skills.
Yeah. I in my experience, I also seen it also starts the way how you hire people. So it's more important you spend more time hiring a person. That a bad hire can cost you a lot of money, and of course a bad reputation, rather than spend more time in building expectation. What do you expect has also worked wonders. We also have remote employees working in Philippines, Kenya as well, although we have most of the employees working in India. But we do employee, and yes, they've been working for, I'm yet to fire anyone remote employee yet.
No, that's very accurate. It really comes with hiring. And also a lot of people, like I'd rather not hire than hire and fire easily.
Yes.
So spend more time on hiring, because you're committing. They may have a family, they may have kids, they may have, a mortgage or something. So they're relying on working for you and delivering and getting paid. So you cannot just play around with their lives.
Right.
If you don't want to hire them, if you don't think they're a good fit, just tell them, look, I don't think you're a good fit right now, or you can reword the way you say it, but I will recommend your services or your skills if I hear someone talking, rather than hiring them because you feel the pressure of them needing a job and then having to fire them because they're a bad person, because they're toxic, because they don't have a good attitude. So yeah, as you said, like it can't be any, like that's the perfect answer, probably the one, like spend more time on actually hiring and talking to.
So do you use any specific tools for collaborating or delegating to your remote teams, or they are just the normal one which we end up using? Or they are some
Slack, I think,
Slack.
and Slack has introduced, I think that they have like a new Kanban thing, which is very handy. They have canvases, they have to-do lists. So now basically Slack, like most of our communication, email, Slack, and just notes can be like paper notes, can be like any type of notes. Anything works, really.
Yeah, same here.
Anything works, really.
Yes, right. So just I've taken almost an hour, just a couple of more questions here.
Sure.
So what new features or services can we expect from ODYS in the near future? Are there anything exciting new developments coming forward?
Yeah, definitely. And this is something that I've tackled with Andre, our CMO, and Alexander, who's our COO and in charge of ODYS as a product. They have to enhance their communication with our audience because there are so many awesome features being launched, especially on the back end, but people don't know about that because they're just delivering internally and they're shy. Whereas I don't mind them even having a monthly newsletter where they simply announce new features. So I think a very good improvement recently has been our ability to actually help domain owners and sellers get liquidity in exchange for their domains. And just because as far as I know, and I've done some research, but GoDaddy doesn't want to list third-party domains in their auction systems. Back in the days, you had a domain, you could auction it. These days, they're just selling their inventory because it's easy. Like we know, we have a couple hundred active sellers right now, and these are people who have more than one domain. Everyone else just have one domain. And it's very difficult to handle sellers. It requires a lot of operation, communication, customer service. So GoDaddy doesn't necessarily want to deal with that. They'd rather just selling expiring inventory. So I think we're trying to position ourselves and solve this problem. I'm sure you have more domains that you need. And all other people running online business, they have more domains than they need. And some are really precious, like pagetraffic.com, for instance, while some might never sell, and you keep paying renewal fees. So we're trying to, instead of competing with all other sellers in the age domain after market, we'd rather push for a unique type of service where we actually are the platform and the marketplace that unites buyers and sellers. So I think we'll keep developing this moving forward, because right now there's basically just one way to sell two ways to sell an age domain besides ODYS. You can try to go to Facebook groups like SEO Facebook group and say, hey guys, I'm selling this, and hopefully someone will buy. Or you can try just listing it in the mainstream marketplaces like Dan.com, even Afternic that GoDaddy owns, or Cedo.com is a German company, and hope someone sometimes will buy it, which doesn't mean anything. But the problem is, in the traditional world, everyone is after good names. Very few understand the backlink side or the age side of a domain. So we're trying to brand us as a marketplace, brand ourselves as a marketplace where we connect buyers and sellers and solve the demand problem by helping sellers get liquidity. So I think this is the direction that we're following right now, because if we were only to push by domain side, we'd end up with sales and a lot of domain owners having more domains that they can handle. We often have cases when people say, I'm going to, this year, like January 2025, I'm going to start 5 sites, and they buy 5 domains, they end up developing 1, and the other 4 domains, they don't know what to do with them. Where right now they can release them in the marketplace. We'll make sure they haven't been abused, they're fine, and we'll release them. Maybe you need them, maybe someone else needs them. There have been lots of cases when people wanted a domain, it got sold, and then we managed to get it back from the new owner. So I think this is a great direction to pursue.
That's an interesting use case, definitely. Yes.
And a good problem to solve. It kind of makes me feel good, because we're not just selling domains, we're helping 2 distinct parties solve problems.
Right. I myself would have a domain portfolio of, I think, around 100 domains. So that's normal for anybody who's been in this industry, right?
Yep.
I agree.
And you keep paying renewal fees year after year.
Yes. So let's talk about your mentorship program you started, I think, just a couple of years back. So
I think around last year.
Yes. So how many mentors you have onboarded now?
We have around 20, but we've completely rebuilt it from scratch. And I think we're officially relaunching this month or next. We have Andre and we have Svetlana, who's the manager of the program, so to speak, and they're relaunching the entire thing. And the mentors program is just my attempt to kind of filter through the experts of the industry, because there are so many so-called experts and there are so many awesome people who really know and they have experience. And beside that, it's also an attempt to keep in touch with people, to make them sort of like part of our network. And most of those people are people that I can personally vouch for. And we have a system to actually recruit. You cannot just say, I want in. Well, there should be something to your name which makes you eligible to call yourself a mentor. And ODYS Mentors it's not making us money, basically. It's not a revenue. Our main revenue comes from domains and website selling and brokering. But ODYS Mentors is sort of like an attempt to provide people access to some of the best minds in the industry, which are vetted, which are confirmed to actually know what they're talking about. Because with so many courses and so many good advice being out there, it's very hard to know whom to follow and whom to take advice from.
So are you guys going to expand it?
Yes. And the short answer is yes.
Yeah, and the long answer I need is, so especially in a region like India, where of course the market is growing rapidly, as you can see, we are one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Do you have any mentors to hire from here, or do you have any plans to push mentorship here, or any other reason?
We don't, like, one of the reasons why ODYS is called global, because we don't have any market perception. Well, we do focus, we need to focus sometimes on specific countries as markets, but for us, when it comes to mentors, it's more like do you have a distinctive advantage in what you do in comparison with the rest of the world? Are you really good at something? So when you're really good at something, I don't really care where you're from. You can be from Indonesia, India, Japan, Argentina, Pakistan, anywhere in the world, really, like Alaska, like you can work remotely. You can, like, if there is something unique that you know, because we don't want to have 100 people who are just good at link building, 100 mentors. We need you to be good at something very specific, because every single mentor that we end up accepting into the program is a mentor that is really good at something specific. Right. So we need that uniqueness. We don't want just 100 pay-per-click experts, 100 link building experts, 100 whatever experts. We want unique people, like people who have some sort of achievements, people who run a successful business. Because at the end of the day,
actually share real knowledge and real value to the mentee. I mean, it should be value for money who is actually paying that much money, right?
Exactly. So think about, walking the talk. If you're teaching someone how to start a successful agency and you're not running a successful agency yourself, right. I don't really know if I can promote you or recommend you as someone who could teach how to run $1 million a year agency, at least. I mean, that's common sense. So this is what we're trying to do. And our filters is basically, do you have some sort of audience? Are you like, I wouldn't call it an influencer, but are you known in the first place? Because if you're not known, we can promote you as hard as we can. But if you are not interested in building a personal brand, giving you calls, which is actually paid calls, would be very tough. But you will not convert, so to speak. People will not seek your advice because they don't know you. People usually Google you. So they will Google you before they book you through us, for instance, if you're a mentor.
Absolutely.
So you have to be somebody, right? Second, like, what's your specialty? What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on agencies? Great. I'm starting an agency. I want to pick your brain. Like, what's your focus? Are you so? And obviously, even though it may not sound as the best criteria, but are you financially successful? Like, do you know how to make money in the first place? Do you know how to run a business?
Right,
like, that's the main thing. Like, I'm not seeking like hypnotherapy advice. I'm seeking like business advice. So this is what I'm interested in.
Yes. So somebody who been there, done that.
Exactly.
All right, Alex, it was a very interesting discussions, a lot of knowledge nuggets, and I really love talking all that. And the age token, yes. So thank you very much for your time. And
thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.